lucky you.
Yes, yes. Fantastic weather here. Today, actually, we have had a sudden change in weather for the best.
Oh,
For
we've
the
gone the
best.
opposite way. We've got
Yeah.
rain, overcast. I don't mind, I don't like it when it's windy, but it sounds like we've gone the opposite way because yesterday was hot. It was actually a
Mm,
hot day. So you've
mm.
got like a spring day, a mid-season day.
Yes, yes. So I think this is what they call the last of the summer wine.
I love that.
Hi,
That sounds
Aspi.
so romantic. And
Yes.
Frankie says hello.
Oh, Frankie, Frankie, here is Jonathan. Yeah.
We must do this. We
Yes.
must do this.
Here is
Good.
Jonathan.
Woof
You
woof.
you meet you
Woof
need to
woof.
meet up for a lunch date, Frankie and
Yeah.
Jonathan. Yes, yeah. Yeah, oh, nice.
I agree.
So Aspis here is the first in the room, and we have
Oh my
Lidu.
gosh. Hi, Aspie.
Hello, our lovely ones. How are you? Have you
Oh,
all had a fantastic start to the week? Has everyone had a fantastic start to the week? Yes, yes, I'm thinking yes. So, Catherine, how is my sound, my dear? Is it
your
good?
sound is good. What about myself?
Your sound is flying high
Yeah.
like a kite. It's
Okay, that's
lovely.
good. Good.
Yeah. Ah,
Hey guys.
hi, guys. Thank you for joining us today again. Let me try to tap that yes so that shows up on the screen. I'm just testing features here. Oh, yes, Lido. We are all good. Yes, fantastic. Great to see these lovely, adorable people in the comments. They always keep us going, don't they, Catherine?
Oh yeah, they do. I just, I mean, I'm always over on your page and I read the comments on your videos and pretty loyal tribe, and switched on rather, and
Hmm.
yeah, critical thinkers. But I said this once before. Um, Everyone is quite polite and pretty decent, and even when
Hmm.
they disagree, they're not yelling and screaming at each other or, abusing and using vulgar language. I just think it's really helpful when we can disagree politely, and I noticed that on your page. So it's to your credit because, you do run a pretty good channel.
Yes, yes. We always
Mm,
believe in compassion, in
mm,
kindness. We share these stories, but we always look at talking through these
mm,
conversations through a compassionate lens, as
mm,
opposed to how I see many other creators on the
mm.
platform. Because,
Oh,
it
yeah.
doesn't take a lot to be kind in the world we live in today.
Well, I
Mm,
think it sets you apart
mm,
because people
mm,
forget, myself included, um, you do forget, oh my gosh, I'm talking to a real human being.
mm.
I mean, you can really sift out the trolls pretty quickly, but for the
Yes,
most
yeah.
part, and let's be frank, I mean, humanly speaking, we want to say, up yours in certain uncertain terms, but you just don't because you don't know really who's behind the comment. You also don't know what kind of day they're having.
Exactly. But hey, before we go into this late live stream, let's also recognize our friends Retroactive Jealousy. By the way, if you guys are not following that channel, he is so lovely. Maki there and his beautiful wife Gwendoline, always lining up behind these videos and showing their support. Hi, Mark and Gwendoline. Thank you so much for your support and for taking up your time to stay up and
I've
watch
written
this
it
live
down.
stream. Yes, so I've just highlighted it there. They are way over in New Zealand. So I think that's the other side of the clock, isn't it? New Zealand. I don't know what time it is
Yes.
there right now,
It's
but
very, it's not a lot of difference between New Zealand and Australia. We're
yes.
neighbours. Well, we're
Hmm.
cousins, actually. You know,
Hmm.
it's,
Hmm.
I think the relationship between New Zealand and Australia is very, yeah, very much aligned. We're close, yeah, we're
Very
neighbours.
close,
Mm,
yes, and
mm,
great part of the the Commonwealth. You guys are
mm.
very very special to us. But yes, Maki Gwendoline, thank you so much. Please, guys, subscribe to their channel. They talk about retroactive jealousy and a lot of insightful videos they put out there. But we have Chantel, we have Lidu, we have Steadman, we have the A team present as you speak right now. Everybody here,
Totally.
Lisa, Aspi, the A team, as you, all of these here right now are the A team. Hi, Steadman across in LA. Is it
I,
Texas?
Texas, I think.
Greetings, greetings, yes. So let's celebrate your 1K subscribers. Catherine,
Oh my gosh.
congratulations.
No, Frankie thanks you as well, you know.
Yes,
I
congratulations.
look, I did a little bit of I haven't done the analytics thoroughly yet, but
Yes.
do you know I went back and looked at the time span because I had a break because I just got sick of it because it's really hard, Yaka.
Mm,
Thanks, Stedman. It was fantastic because Stedman's always around commenting. But,
yes.
you know, um, uh, I love these lives. I really enjoy these lives. And then you went one step further and then you promoted my channel. Oh, come on, everyone, get over there. You know, join the party over there. And
Yeah.
I really, I just decided I was going to feed the beast on YouTube. Do you know, we did that in a little over 3 months.
Yes,
I,
we
and I
did.
had, we did it, I tell you, because it's around 90% of channels on YouTube are under 1,000.
Hmm.
And I was doing all this research and I was getting more and more depressed. I'm thinking, oh, it's never going to happen. It's not going to happen. Anyway,
You know.
but we did that. And I got to tell you, at least 250 of them, from
Yes.
my latest estimate, have come from your promotion. Honestly,
Oh,
yeah,
thank
yeah.
you. Thank you so much,
Oh,
Catherine. That's what
and
we
that's
do
just
for
a
our communities.
rough guesstimate. That's rough. So I'm
And
going
your
to
hard
at least dig
work,
down.
yeah, yeah, and your
Yeah.
hard work has paid off. With YouTube, we get to these numbers, the tens, hundreds, and all of that. But really, the most important milestone to hit is that one subscriber mark there because
Yes.
it
Yeah.
empowers you. And from then, YouTube starts even pushing out your videos more and recommending them to people. So it is such an incredible achievement. Really
Thanks,
well done.
Stedman.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Steadman, thank you.
It's well, it's not my achievement really. It's
Hmm.
ours. To be
Yeah,
frank,
yeah,
that's
yes.
the way I saw it. I just see it because it actually is a big deal on YouTube because then the algorithm works a lot more in your favor after you hit a
Hmm.
thousand.
Hmm.
Um, I was with my son the other day. He has a merchandise, direct garment printing on garments. And I said, I want to put together a little range now I'm a legitimate channel. I'm going
Legend.
legit.
Yes.
And he said, but it's only 1,000. And I was explaining to him, I said, yeah, but then we can open up a store underneath. And I said, I wonder if I qualify for that. And you have to
Okay.
have 10,000.
Merchandise, yes.
I did a Meghan Markle and fell on the floor crying. I said,
Yeah.
oh, it's another 9,000.
No, no, you actually no. I think you can start a shop and sort of sell
Yeah,
some merchandise. from
You can
1,000
start a shop. Yeah.
subscribers. Yeah. So
Yeah.
it
But
is
you
to,
don't
you
get the
need the
store
hmm,
underneath.
underneath.
When you see those really big artist channels and they've got all their albums underneath, it's like a shelf. You
Hmm.
need 10,000 for that.
Oh,
So
step by
yeah,
step, we will
yeah,
get there.
yeah.
We will.
But you could still do a
We've done.
store. You could still
Yeah.
do a store. But I just said to him, "Oh, I was in the middle of his factory and I fell on the floor
Yeah, with
crying." He goes,
excitement and
"What's going on with you?" I said, "Well, I've just made it. I'm going to still celebrate."
right, right.
Yeah.
So well done. I have my cup of tea here. We should have tossed a glass of wine, really. But yay! Here we go. Yes. And to our friends in the comments, thank you so much for sticking around with us and that support. We wouldn't have done whatever we are doing without you all. So thank you
Oh,
so much.
well, big high five to Francis,
Yeah,
everyone.
yeah,
Big
yeah.
high five.
So where should we start from? Should we start from King Charles's upcoming tour? Should we go to Catherine's upcoming events? Should we look at Meghan Markle's controversial dress? Apparently, fashion police is all
Well,
over her for that dress.
yeah, I know
Um,
she's really. Do you want to work backwards or
yes.
work with the latest and work backwards? We could. That's
Okay.
always a good way to do it. We'll be like forensic accountants. We'll work
Yes.
backwards.
Okay, so we let's wrap up Meghan Markle's dress, get it out of
Yeah,
the way. Like they
yeah.
say, the king arrives last. So
Yes, I agree.
we
Yeah.
save the best for last, don't we? So
Okay.
Meghan Markle turns up at this children's gala in LA wearing this dress, the red outfit. I think she wore that dress first in 2021. And so it was a rewear this time round. And I think she wanted to come across as Catherine, Princess of Wales, who rewears dresses and still looks beautiful. So she decides to rewear this dress. She got rid of the tail and just sort of touched up at the bottom of the dress and turned up. She didn't do anything with the top bit of the dress. It wasn't suiting that much for the occasion. And people in the comments, and I was looking at popular feeds, I mean, from the Daily Mail to the Daily Express, The Sun, all of these popular feeds, tearing that dress apart, and people reacting with comments. I could hardly find a comment that was like, oh, it is a beautiful all round dress. What are your thoughts about that dress before we?
Oh, well, I'm no different to most women. I do like looking at fashion. Um, I I'm a dressmaker. I've most of my life, I not so much these days, but most of my life I made my own clothes. And when the children were young, I actually people would go, "Wow, where'd you get that?" And I said, "I made it." So I built up a home business as a result. So I look at things through that lens, as a
Mm,
dressmaker. So there's two things going on with that dress. It's the architecture of the
mm,
dress.
mm,
It's just like Caroline Herrera must be tearing her hair out with this representation of her
mm,
dress, because it does not work on Meghan Markle. It just
mm,
doesn't. It's an awkward. I don't want to slam Caroline Herrera because she actually does create beautiful works, but in my opinion, this is not one of her best.
mm,
I believe it was probably designed with the Met Gala in mind. It was that kind of outlandish
mm,
statement piece. I think
mm,
it may have been designed with something like that in
mm,
mind.
mm,
But it doesn't matter. The first time she wore it, she was not terribly fit. Her hair was ghastly. It was all tied back. This time, her hair was a lot more relaxed. but it doesn't matter what she does. It doesn't
Mm.
matter what she does. You know, the thing is with Catherine, there's an old saying, she could wear an old sack and make it look good, and it
Oh
would just
yes.
sell off the racks.
Exactly. She's
It,
her body, Catherine's body, I think is she pays much attention to her body and how it comes across in these different outfits. And she always wears the right outfits for the right occasions. Where if she's going into a sporting event, she will wear a sports dress outfit, the trainers, the pants, and the top. She's going to a dinner, like we see her attending those royal evening dinners, the garden parties. She gets those dresses perfectly. She listens to her designers. She is very cooperative, because I think these all these traits come into play if you're going to turn up on events like this and looking great. You have to listen to people and not go by what you think is
very good
best for
point.
you. Okay. And I think all of these little traits we see in Meghan Markle are affecting nearly all her aspects of life and her businesses and the things she does. She has to go back to the draw board and say, what am I doing wrong here? How can I become better? Is it the listening that I need to do? That dress, like you said, was made, I think, to look better with that veil, because the veil sort of covers the lower aspects of the body, because our bodies, we all have different styles of our bodies. So if you wear a dress and it's not aligning with your body, people are going to pick that up. Okay. Now we know Meghan Markle has got broad shoulders, and then her body comes like that, sort of. So she needs a dress that is going to balance the bottom part of her body with the top to make her an accomplished presentation. So if you get rid of that, you're going to expose yourself to a lot of criticisms with what you're wearing. So she did not pay attention to that. But also looking at how other moms wore on this event, very decently covered up. Okay, this is a little kids event. And there could be a bit of running around, activities, you never know. And how tight this dress was. I don't think she can even make a 50 yards of step. Okay. And on this event as well, you could have fathers turning up, because it's a mom's event. You expect a father somewhere, a man somewhere. Be a bit presentable up here. Don't give away a lot. So all of these things here, I think Meghan Markle got them wrong, and she opened herself to fashion police, because it's always there looking, especially when it comes to celebrities, you know, wearing outfits.
Well, you're right. You make a lot of really good points there about you should have been a dressmaker, Francis, or a fashion designer, because all the points you make are spot on. The problem is for Megan, she feels all this criticism is just at her and it's coming from a place of hate. And
Mm,
in this case, it isn't, because when you look at Catherine, and I hate comparing women, but when you look at Catherine, everything is tailored within an inch of its life. Everything fits her beautifully. Everything has been, well, you knew what you're in for when she got married, because her wedding dress fit her like a second skin. It
mm,
did. Now,
mm,
with Meghan, um, she doesn't listen to advice. Some people have said that this was a loner, and we've seen when she was working in the royal family, there's one dress, she still had the price tag on it. She's
mm,
so trashy, you can't go into public life and expect people to not look at you and criticize you. People say, oh, you shouldn't fat shame, you shouldn't body shame. I don't have a problem calling people fat. I'm sorry, I
mm,
just don't. if when I'm fat, I know I'm fat. You're
Hmm.
carrying fat on your body.
Hmm.
The thing is, she does look better for the trim down, but she's got that Ozempic look. And
Hmm.
I actually quite, and it's probably because my frame, particularly when I was younger and I was always working out, I actually quite liked that masculine frame, that very slender frame. But she just doesn't understand. You
Yeah.
need to listen to um, you need to listen to a dresser. You need someone who'll help you dress, and you'll take advice. She
Hmm.
just thinks she is the
The
alpha and
star
the
in
and
everything.
omega of everything. She just believes that she knows everything, and she just shows that she doesn't. She hasn't got a
Absolutely.
clue even how to dress.
Well, and I was looking at you could maybe another occasion where she okay turned up and we said okay so that dress is okay or she's got that right or and I was struggling because all of these key events moments apart from the days she was still working for the royal family, because when she was still a royal, you could see that she made the effort to turn up in the right outfits. Okay, so of course, the royal family is a no go for people who are not going to listen. So they have the stylists in the royal family who preempt near enough all of these designers and look into their fashion senses and see whether they are the perfect fit for the royals. And this is where Catherine has been able to excel in her outfits because she, doesn't have to worry a lot. All she has to do is to listen, to pay attention, and work supportively with these people. Meghan Markle doesn't seem to be doing that, and you're very right. Because since she left, I was following up on these other events she has turned up, and there's one that stands out as well, and that's the one she turned up wearing the short pants and slippers, marching in front of the veterans. I don't know if you saw that one.
Oh, I can't
And
believe she did that. I can't believe that
uh,
she did that.
and these were like big shots and all the way up there and then superimposing her legs and with that sort of body you are supposed to be very careful with what you wear. Okay, so to me this is a Meghan Markle who isn't listening or either not paying attention to people. And so they are telling us this was a last minute invitation. Okay, it was a last minute uh, decision for Meghan Markle to come and be present at this function. But she can't use that as an excuse again, because if she managed to get rid of the veil and alter the dress's lower bit here, it, you know, it, it it shows that she was preparing herself to wear this dress on this occasion. So she can't use that as an excuse. Uh, but this is another moment that has overshadowed what would have been a very sentimental occasion. This is the problem. This is where hosts and all these, people are very wary or skeptic about invitations being extended to Meghan Markle because this is what they get at the end of those invitations. People now are talking about this red dress, everywhere the red dress. It is turning heads for all the wrong reasons everywhere. And people are talking less about this sentimental occasion that she was attending. That is what
Well,
I find
they
very,
are.
very terrible.
That's exactly right. I mean, it's a hue and cry. It's like she just zoomed in, pointer in the nearest direction of a sick kid anywhere. A kid, a kid, a kid, you know. And the thing is that dress, I don't know what the girls in the chat think of this, could have benefited from a sheer wrap. She could have even, if she, she could have even put a wrap on there just to add another dimension to it. and it would have actually toned her down a bit. Um, I actually like wraps, and I love chiffon. And look at her colleague next to her, former staff member. Apparently, she had a daughter who was in that hospital. She looked gorgeous.
Mm,
That beautiful feminine um, dress that she had on. It was a soft white, chiffon, flowy, just all these lovely little flowy. They were almost like fish scales, just flowing. She looked absolutely gorgeous, so feminine. And these women are not young women, they're not teenagers,
mm,
but this woman who I believe, is in PR, she's dressed for her age, and
mm.
she still looks good, but she is dressed for her age. Megan thinks she's still,
That young
this
girl who
sexy girl,
16,
young girl.
17-year
Yeah,
young girl turning up in a dress she wore a few years back. Because
yeah,
as we know, and I'm a man, I know when we grow, we have those transformations. What I wore a few years back, I may not wear again because of how I have transformed over time. Okay. And also trends, dresses die with trends, and we have new ones coming up. So you've got to stay up to date. You've got to catch up with those trends. Now, you've touched on a very important point. You cannot wear a dress that you wore when you were 16, 17, 18, 19, and you think you will wear the same dress now and still look like how you looked then, unless you were a magician of some sort. So she wore that red dress for the Deal or No Deal. It was a similar dress, red outfit. I see that image quite around, the red one for Deal No Deal. She's holding a suitcase. It's got the tight upper, sort of sleeveless, and and so she's got this chest popping out. And so she wears this dress, the red one, wanting to sort of recapture that image of the days of Deal or No Deal, where she looked like this very young girl who is coming through the blocks trying to find her way. And she thinks this dress is going to bring out that broadness. She got it totally wrong because she looked terrible in this dress. That's how I looked at it. And when I looked at celebrities that were attending that event, I mean, is it Amal Clooney? This is George Clooney's wife. She looked so simple but elegant in
oh,
that
I
dress.
love it, I love
And
it.
that exactly, and these are
Yeah.
people that Meghan Markle claims
Mm.
to be in touch with, talking with every day, but she doesn't borrow leaves from these people.
No,
The
no.
Serena Williams. I mean, Serena Williams is sort of the same sort of shape like Meghan Markle, brought her up, and then as she comes, she narrows down. But she turns up wearing sometimes good dresses. So
Yeah,
these are her friends. Why doesn't she learn to check in with her friends and ask, I'm going to this event. What do you think about this outfit? Okay. And she has all this money they are spending on hair, security, lots of money. They can afford to approach designers for sensible outfits. But I don't know whether they choose not to. I don't know whether designers are not forthcoming with giving their outfits to Meghan Markle because of maybe the sort of publicity she carries herself around with, and she's having to struggle now identifying outfits that she can wear. I don't know what it is, but whichever way it is, she had to find a way of turning up and looking decent. She's the
yeah.
Duchess of Sussex, for heaven's sake. She
It, it,
needs to. Mm,
it's not a hard assignment. It takes work, don't get me wrong, but it's not a tough assignment to turn up and look decent.
hmm, hmm. Okay. So
I,
here in
I
the
just,
UK,
I just
that's
like shake my head at this. I think this is not happening, is it? There was a woman, they took a photo of three of them, and there were two red dresses on, flanking either side of her friend, and the other girl had a red dress on, and I thought she looked beautiful. It was just a tube,
hmm,
simple, understated, elegant, off the shoulder, strapless gown. I thought
hmm.
she didn't look trashy. See, the French say when you're wearing, you can't have it both ways. If you want to expose your cleavage, you can't have a slit, up
Hmm.
your thigh. If you want a slit up your thigh, you cover up the top. You
So
don't
choose
have it
one
all.
of the other. You
Yeah,
don't
you
have
don't
it all
have it
over the
all hanging
place.
out. And that woman understood that because I looked at that and I deconstructed what she did, and I thought she's done what the French say you should do.
Yeah.
She wanted it up here, so she covered it all down here. I mean, I didn't
Hmm.
even see the floor, but didn't appear to have any other flesh showing. She
Hmm.
looked, she looked
Amazing.
just like a chef's kiss. It was beautiful.
Yes. Hmm.
Megan, this is what I find vulgar. She hugged that man for longer than she needed
Yeah.
to. He
Two.
was
Hmm.
some advocate, no, it was some health advocate. And, but you can't help but when people are hugging you, they got their arms all around. They don't know where to put their hands. Some men do, but like it's just so inappropriate. So look at Catherine in that gold gown. You
Oh
could
God.
you could see
She's a
her
goddess.
form. Oh,
She
totally.
owned. She owned the floor. She did. You could see her, and that's the thing. When you wear nice, you feel it. You really do. And I think
Oh,
Meghan Markle at some point saw that, oh, I think I've made a blunder here, because you could see her trying to cling on other people. Because when someone is losing confidence at an occasion, it's very easy to spot that. But who was she speaking to? This is photograph which was being taken, stood on the red carpet, and you could see her clinging onto somebody as if she wants to fall down. And so she wasn't owning that stage at all. And it came down to that confidence disappearing, I think, after realizing that that dress wasn't the perfect one for the evening.
do you do
So
you do you think because I sensed insecurity? Do you think it might be because she hasn't got Harry there, and she um, was trying to get Harry's attention by, look at me, I'm out, because he extended his Africa trip by a few extra days.
hmm,
Apparently, he did 10 engagements in 15 days.
hmm,
And do you think it might be an insecurity around the fact that she actually is going alone now? Because, I mean, she hasn't got her ginger puppet there
yeah,
to
yeah,
tell him what to do. I mean, people don't respond well to that, and he's
hmm,
now finding his own land legs, if we could
yeah,
call it that.
yeah, yeah,
Do you
yeah.
think there might be some
Well, I think,
insecurity over the fact, oh my God, this is where it really is now?
well, you could be tempted to think like that, couldn't you? Because some people, and how they think they could handle situations. So she could have wanted to come across as very showy and, sexy and all of that. So men come craving, and maybe Harry on the other side says, "Oh my God, this is what I'm missing." Okay, a bit more like when Princess Diana wore that black dress.
Yeah.
The
Whew.
black dress, and, to try and
She
get
broke
King.
all the French rules, but
Yeah.
she looked
Oh, but she
fabulous.
looks absolutely. So if you're going to do something like that, make
You
sure
can't
you get
fail.
it right. Yes.
You can't fail if you're going to do that.
And
Yeah.
then she turns up with childless. This is an occasion for children.
Oh,
It's a young kids event. They have invited you. So the best thing
good
you can
point.
do to honor that invitation is to bring this little boy Archie, because we saw children Archie's age running around, so bring Archie to show appreciation for being invited, and let Archie interact with the kids and be seen as a mom who is
Oh,
contributing positively to an
such a
event.
good point.
She
Yeah.
decides to leave Archie, and then she seen telling off young kids for, haven't you gone past your bedtime? Okay, so I just didn't get it. When are these kids going to be visible? When? Okay,
I
so
love
you.
that. I just didn't get it. I love that. So true. Do you know that hadn't even occurred to me. Do you know what? That would have been a huge. Imagine she would have broke the internet if she'd have had Archie there.
She's got all these opportunities to
Yeah.
shine, to get back into people's books, to get sort of some sympathy from people. So if she had brought Archie, people would have looked at her in a different way than they did. Okay.
Mm,
And
mm.
I doubt she would have worn that dress if she had brought Archie alongside with her. Okay. But she decides to turn up childless, wearing this dress which is conflicting with the occasion, drawing all the attention away from these beautiful moms and their little ones. She hasn't got a little one, so she's just messing up the whole event, and she goes. And then we wonder why she's not invited to events. Okay. So that is Meghan Markle for you. We are not criticizing her, but we are just highlighting moments she is missing points.
Well, she lost an opportunity. I mean,
Mm,
I understand that she gate crashed it, but if you're going to gate crash, you've got to really, like you said, you have to be able to pull it off. If you're going to break the rules, first of all, you can't break the rules unless you know what the rules are. But if you're going
mm,
to break the rules, just do it with a sense of purpose and pull it off. But she just looked like a gate crasher out of her depth. I don't know what's wrong with that girl, but I actually do think there is something wrong with her. I actually
mm,
do. I'll tell you what I thought when I
mm,
first looked at it. I thought, you're still that young girl in front of your father's camera. That's she doesn't know anything else except being in front of a camera flash. That's it. She hasn't matured, she hasn't grown up. She is her development is arrested on some level, and I mean, I've got other thoughts around her narcissism, etc. But I just saw her. I thought, wow, you've not grown up. You're still standing there like you're in front of it. You don't know anything else except standing in front of a camera flash. That's
mm,
it.
mm.
Because her acting is B grade, at best.
She wasn't impressing that much. And I'm telling you this because here in the UK we knew nothing about this suits thing. I didn't know who Meghan Markle was, even when this suits was going on. But the only day I got to know about Meghan Markle was that engagement to Prince Harry. That's when I said, oh, who is this Meghan Markle? So surely that shows that even in the acting itself, she hadn't got that breakthrough. Okay, so she is missing so many opportunities because she got into the royal family, married this prince who was the beloved Prince Terry, fell come true. She stays there for 6 months and ruins it all. She runs away, throws away the chance to become Meghan the Great. Because if she had stayed in here, this woman would be seen at the same level we are seeing Catherine, because the
I
royal
agree. I
family
believe that.
supports. Hmm.
Yeah,
But she
I actually
throws.
believe that. I believe she could have had a great future.
She could have had a great future, and I don't see her getting any other opportunity as massive
No.
as what she had got here in the royal family. But coming back to this function here, my dear Catherine, there are people who are starting to think that actually she was so much under pressure to show up at an event to try and be, try and, because Catherine was so much in the headlines. Catherine came and hugged this cancer survivor at Windsor Castle. Oh, this photograph went viral. It went viral. I mean, what it's gone down in the books as the most adorable, beautiful photo in recent times. I don't know if you saw that photo. Catherine
I did.
hugging this,
Yeah.
yes.
No, it's
And so she was,
beautiful.
yeah. So Meghan Markle has been missing in action for some days, and she's observing. Because let's not forget, Meghan left the royal family, but she's keeping a very close eye on Catherine. She's looking at every her move. What is Catherine going to do next? How can I supersede that? What is she gonna do next? How can I take her off the front page and I stay on? So we have these little pockets of competition on the other side of Meghan Markle still pushing through. And here is our adorable Catherine paying no attention to that because she's just naturally doing what she enjoys and without even wanting to take any spotlight of any sort. And then we have Meghan here scrambling and fighting. She's on the front page. I'm going to take her off. So many people think she decides to show up at this event wearing this dress, and then this will get the whole world talking, and this will supersede all the stories of Catherine of what, and she will stay in the headlines. Okay, so many people actually still think she also turned up at this event because she wanted to steal the show and get her name out there in the papers recently, where Catherine has been showing up a lot. Okay.
Oh,
And
look,
the
just
big
give it up.
problem, yeah, and the big problem with doing that always is you risk doing a lot of mistakes. You risk not planning, okay, getting things wrong. And this is where she gets herself into always, because for her, I think she's come to a point where whether people are talking about her positively or negatively, what she cares about is to be in the headlines. That's what. Okay.
But
But
is she
that's.
winning? Is she winning?
There
Like,
isn't any
is she
winning at all.
winning?
No winning
But
at all. Because then
because
you
it doesn't
become a
seem to.
laughing stock. Hmm?
But you make a really good point, Francis,
Hmm?
that you make mistakes. She hasn't got. You'll have to excuse me, gang. I'm just recovering from a flu, so if I'm
Hmm.
coughing or
Yeah.
such,
Hmm.
you'll have to just excuse me. The
Oh,
thing
don't
is,
worry.
yeah,
Hmm.
sorry, but I'm by myself, so I don't need
Hmm.
to worry about sneezing. But
Yeah.
excuse me. The thing is, though, you actually make a really good point here because the thing is, you've got to run in your own lane.
Hmm.
She is stalking Catherine. She
Hmm.
is a stalker. And they recognize that. That's why Harry will always struggle if to get back with any favor with any royal if he thinks he can tag this woman along as well, because it's never going to happen. She can't
Hmm.
be trusted, but she's a stalker. But you make mistakes, you're not planning. And the thing is, we look at Sophie, for example.
Hmm.
She's very busy.
Hmm.
She's stepping up, but she's not trying to compete with anyone. But as a result, she's beautiful. She rises like cream to the surface, all the beauty, all the really good nourishment that's within her, all that loveliness just rises to the surface. People just love her for it. No, there's no competing with Catherine. It's like she tried to compete with the Queen.
Hmm. Hmm.
She
And she,
did,
she can't win.
you don't own the word royal. Remember she said that?
Yes, she did. With so much competition, and she hated it, lining up behind these senior royals, lining up behind Catherine. I mean, the perfect one I love watching time and time again was when they showed up for the Wimbledon games some time back. Was that
Oh,
20?
yes, yes,
2018, 20. So she was wearing a white top with black
yeah.
lines running, and she had her blouse sleeves rolled up halfway, and she was walking behind Catherine, and you could see she wanted sort of have a bit of a leap in front, so to come in front, but protocol did not allow that. She had to stay behind
Mm,
there.
mm,
And here is a woman who does not want anybody to be in front of her.
yeah,
We have
yeah.
seen this on many occasions. And I think Prince Harry noticed as well that this is the sort of woman I've married. And you know, us with men, we don't want to cause problems. I don't want any problems. So what we do, we roll with it. Get to the front, Meghan Markle. And that's what Prince Harry, that's the approach Prince Harry adopted. Started leaving her to get ahead of him. So functions, she's ahead of him. Wherever he's just following by, because he understood that this is the woman I married. There is no way she's gonna allow me stay ahead. And Prince Harry probably didn't want problems and said, okay, let her be. But the royal family wouldn't allow that because of protocol. And I think this also formed the basis for her wanting to leave, because she wouldn't envision seeing herself walking in what she called the shadows of Catherine, Princess of Wales. She gave up the opportunity to learn from the very best, because when she first arrived, she was placed in the hands of Catherine for mentorship. Okay,
Mm, can you
Catherine,
imagine?
exactly. And can you
Mm,
imagine what a
yeah,
brilliant woman she would have
mm,
become coming through the
yeah,
hands of Catherine,
mm,
Princess of Wales, who has studied the royal family inside out. She has
mm, mm,
worked. If there is a woman who has achieved great things coming through the ranks of the royal family, Catherine, Princess of Wales, 10 years. Okay, 10 years in that relationship. Prior to that, still understanding the values, the principles of the royal family, and how to behave, from dressing to talking to interacting with people to adopting those what do they call, the Queen Elizabeth small talk style of interacting, whether you're talking with children, grown-ups, young people, that respect you give to people in an effortless way.
mm.
Okay, Catherine had mastered all of that, and she was made the teacher to Meghan Markle. What does Meghan Markle decide to do? I'm the best. How can Catherine teach me how to do things? No chance. Then she went through the angle of equality, women emancipation, and all of that. This is old fashioned, and trying to play down this, the protocol, but behind her, it was Meghan Markle not wanting anybody to tell her what to do. And these are the mistakes she's making now, because even people within Actual Foundation, designers and Spotify projects she did with is it the Archetypes podcasts, and she crashed with Spotify because they couldn't get to sit down and actually advise on what to do. She's always wanting to be the CEO, the film producer, the director, writing her
Well,
own speeches and writing Harry's, so she is going to find it really, really difficult to do things very well, because that's what you get if you don't take on advice. Mm.
I think a classic case of someone who learnt the ropes is Grace Kelly, the American actress. She's actually Irish, And she wasn't accepted straight away into the royal family at Monaco when she married into that royal family. But she buckled down for 12 months. She dedicated herself to learning French. She learnt the language. And as a result, they loved her. They embraced her. They didn't embrace her straight away. They
mm,
just didn't because think about it. It's a small principality. They would have been very parochial. An American actress, what are you doing marrying an American actress? You've taken away one of ours. But they adored her and they loved her, and she was really, really loved. But what Meghan did fail to do was learn about the royal family. She didn't learn anything. If she'd have looked at history, she would have realized what an amazing opportunity this was that was granted to her. And I think a lot of resentment towards her is because people see that. They see that she squandered it. She
mm,
squandered all of those opportunities. That was like it was handed to her. The Commonwealth was given to her. She was made the president of the National Trust, the Theatre Trust. And they said, go through the Commonwealth, look at what you want to do. That was the Queen's pet project. That was the
mm,
closest project to her heart.
mm,
And
mm,
she squandered it. She just, oh, I can't believe that anyone could be so destructive with every opportunity that was given to her. And Stedman makes a really good point about that tennis match you're talking about. She suggested to Catherine, oh, why don't we walk in together? Well, Catherine's not going to agree to that, not because, oh no, I'm going to walk. No, that's not in Catherine's nature. She would have said,
mm,
no, that's not royal protocol.
mm, mm, mm.
And she just didn't want to learn anything.
She
Even when there's
didn't.
a trip when she went on the train with the Queen, she went and accepted the flowers. They were for the Queen.
Mm,
Like
mm.
everything, there were so many missteps, and they were all red flags.
Very, very.
People will forgive your mistakes, but she just looked like she was always pushing her way in,
Mm, mm,
always. And it's not, people don't like difficult people. They don't. People
mm,
want to get along. But I just see her as an architect of anarchy. She's
mm,
a child of chaos, that one. She just wants chaos. She loves to just throw the cat in amongst the pigeons and just see where it lands and watch the reactions around her. She's just got something in her that's really broken and she's not happy unless she's creating chaos.
mm, mm,
But
mm,
Catherine wouldn't have said, "Oh no, darling, I'd go first." It wouldn't have been like that at all. She would have just politely said, "No, no, that's not royal protocol. You can't do that." You know.
mm, mm.
But
And I
you can't
think
you can't expect people to respect you if
if
you're
you
not going to
don't
respect
respect,
others.
absolutely, absolutely, and you have actually touched on a very important point there. Catherine should have uh, kept her on her toes with respecting royal protocol because Catherine breathes royal protocol
Yes.
inside out. Whether she's out with husband Prince William, whether she's with Princess Anne, she understands her lane and where she lies, where her powers and strengths stop, where her limits are. You know, when you look at her engagement together with Queen Elizabeth on that day they stepped out to London, and Catherine emerging out of that vehicle with Her Majesty the Queen. I think I've got that memory inside me. It's the perfect, beautiful moments of Catherine and the Queen I have. The Queen coming out of that Bentley, that brown. Every time I see King Charles coming out of that car, it reminds me of Queen Elizabeth. So the Queen comes out, and Catherine is behind, taking little pauses in her head. She's counting because you've got to be a certain distance away
Mm.
from the Queen. So when the Queen steps out of that car, the cameras are tuned in to the Queen. Okay, nobody
should come before those cameras have found that, they've zoomed in and settled on the person they want to capture most. Catherine mastered that. Whenever she was out with the Queen, that distance she keeps. So the Queen comes out, she stays in there. It's like she has a watch ticking and she's counting and say, until the seconds hit 20, I won't come out of this car. So
Hmm.
under the 20th very second, she steps out of the cameras. I say, oh my goodness, this is
The
the
precision.
perfect stepping out with the
Mm,
Queen. Okay. And then, so the Queen is greeting people. She stays back, her hands there, waiting for her moment. And she reads the Queen's body language. She used to. So then she sees the Queen turning at a 65-degree angle. That is to
yeah.
say, it is your moment to come in. And then you see Catherine coming in. Everything going smoothly. Okay. And for somebody to do that, it takes a lot of effort. It takes a lot of
Yes.
understanding of the principles that run the royal family engagements, paying attention to the smallest of details. And for somebody to do that, that somebody should have been prepared to step into this role, and not for the sake of becoming famous or whatever, but with a genuine interest and compassion for wanting to be in service, because that's what you do when you're working with the royal family. And then we compare that with Meghan Markle. And the day she stepped out with the Queen, imagine on that train, Meghan was already there, literally 2 inches away. And it was more like the Queen was superimposing her arms, trying to say, right, keep an arm's length. Okay. But she wasn't reading into that. Okay. And so she tries to get into the wrong side of the car with the Queen. So she hasn't paid attention to this royal
No.
protocol. There is intense briefing that goes on ahead of these royal engagements. Because I was in there, was with the royal household.
You
I
know.
was a guard. I know all of these bits and bobs. We ourselves have certain protocols we follow when we are out there. And every time we did something wrong, the consequences on us were huge. Okay. Because then we'll be pulled in by our commanding officers. Right. Why did you do this? And why? Why don't you listen? And I think,
It is a
for Meghan
failure
Markle,
to it is a failure to listen, isn't it? It's
failure to
it's not a
listen.
it's not a failure to be obedient. It's a failure to listen and then digest that information into within yourself so that you can follow it through.
Mm-hmm.
It's a failure on her part. She doesn't want to listen. She doesn't listen. She doesn't want to.
Yeah. And I think Catherine as well might have got to a point and say, you know what? Do you, because that's what you do when you get to
Yeah.
a point where somebody's not going to listen to you. Um, but this whole thing brings us to this aspect of Meghan Markle behaving like this right now. How many years after leaving the royal family, we see the same patterns. And these patterns, I think, are the same that we're going to see in many, many more years to come, because people change, people do that. But you always look at people who are not going to change. And you just, and for Prince Harry now, of course, is in this predicament, he's into this already. He knows, he sees these mistakes and he reads around. So he sees all of these things being talked about his wife. And what is he thinking? He's probably thinking, oh my God, what did I put myself in? But he's put himself into it already and he has to lie in it. What he can now do is, what he has done, adopt a certain way of stepping out, and this is going out solo, because this is he sees this as the only way to avoid those controversies of Meghan Markle overshadowing his good work as Prince Harry. And so far, he has succeeded in doing that. And he seems to be enjoying it. You said it. He's extended his stay in Australia. Now, this is the longest time he's been away from his family.
A long time.
Long time. He went
Mm.
to to the 1 week high level meetings in New York,
Mm.
and straight after that he flew here for the Well Child's Awards. And from here to Lesotho in South Africa. Now he's down in South Africa itself and extended by a few days, traveling down further south to visit apparently Princess Diana, the Spencers family. Some of their family live down there with really no rush to get back to his family. And this is unusual because we used to see him rush back to his family. I mean, he came here in the United Kingdom the other day, and straight after the event, was it the King's birthday parade? Within 16, 15 hours, he had flown back to meet his family. This is not the case with the Harry we are seeing now.
Mm.
So
Mm.
tables are starting to change somehow. I don't know if our friends in the comments have also started observing these things.
I think that Harry is very self-centered individual, and that was evident when he was young. It was evident when he was a teenager, and But Arthur Edwards, the royal photographer, and I believe he's going to be on the Australian tour. The up and coming one. He said he said he loved working with Harry. He said he just loved working with Harry. He said he was really uncomplicated. He was Jack the lad. And get this, which surprised me to hear this, when he said, and they'd all get together afterward, they'd go to the pub and they'd have a drink, and Harry would pick up the tab.
Mm,
And he said, we all loved him. Excuse me, we all loved him. And he just mucked in. He just mucked in with everyone. But then I don't know if it was the Australian tour when they got in the plane and he came because they were all expecting to see Harry and Meghan, because that's generally what they did. They would come down to the media pack on the plane, and then they didn't see, heard nothing, but until the end of the trip. And Harry came up, pulled the curtains back, made himself known to the media pack. And he said, I can't recall the exact words, but it was to the effect of, well, it's not like you were really invited to be here. And their jaws dropped because they
mm,
were actually on assignment.
mm,
And
mm,
these people have got families, they're away for often. There was one royal trip, the one with uh, the King of Diana and the Prince of Wales at the time. They were away for 5 weeks.
mm,
So, these people are doing a job and you
mm,
treat them like crap. But
mm,
and Arthur Edwards said he was like night and day. He went from Jack the lad to this character that they didn't recognize. And so where I'm going with this is Harry is very self-interested, and he when it was first muted in the press that, oh, he's going to return, he's making a return, he's going to come back, spend time half here, half there, whatever. And you know what concerned him? He was shocked. He
mm,
was shocked at the backlash. He
mm,
couldn't believe that, I think, woke him up. But
mm,
the damage is done. People have
mm,
seen him now for who he really is. It's
mm,
like,
mm,
how do you undo that damage? There's a lot of people, they'll let sleeping dogs lie, but they'll never forget who he
mm,
really is.
mm,
And
mm,
he's been shown, he thought he was going to defy the Queen's edict, and to the royal family's credit, there is no halfway house. You can't
mm,
but he thinks he can sneak back in under the radar. So, in my view, this is all about Harry. This is
mm,
about him. And I thought at one stage, I do think the king wants him back, but don't forget that book Spare is coming out again this month, and it's
Mm,
going to open up old
a kind of
wounds.
the paperback version of it,
Yeah,
and usually
yeah,
some paperbacks, would come with edits and maybe taking things
mm,
out and patched up, taking all the bitter ones out and reproduce something you know rightly, but we heard apparently it's going to be the same book that was
it's
out,
going
so
to
it
open old wounds.
absolutely. So
Mm,
so with Harry, I don't see him getting back into the royal fold. That is out of, I don't think that's gonna happen. And for as long as he's not talking with his brother as well, there is no way he can come and serve. I
no,
mean, the royal family is doing is trying to maintain that, what should I call it, um, peace, basically, because they don't want to again give him the ammunition. Because every time they talk about him or criticize him or do that, they are giving him ammunition. So this is how I think the royal family is
mm,
gonna roll with things. Just leave him be, let him do his work, let him stay there. But he is never gonna get the
no,
other. Yeah, he's
it's
never gonna get
over.
back. Yeah, it's over. It's
It
over.
really
And
is.
yeah,
Yeah, and
and the king.
you and I don't disagree on. We rarely disagree, but I think in our last live, I did have a different opinion about this whole coming back thing. You and
Hmm.
I had a different viewpoint, but I'm leaning more towards your viewpoint now. It's over. They're never coming back.
No, no.
We're talking about Harry, though. He's never coming back. He might have a place here. I believe he's renting something. It's over because it's not enough to say, it isn't enough to say, yeah, but I haven't added anything new to the
Hmm.
book. That's not
Hmm.
enough. So
It's the
I've
damage
come around to
caused.
your way of thinking.
It's the damaged cause.
Yeah.
It is the lack of trust that has come in
Mm,
between. It's because
yeah.
they don't even, because what can he not say after all he has said? And this is it. As long as he's going to have Meghan Markle besides him, you know, and
Yeah.
we know Meghan Markle is a done deal with the royal family, and she's put it there outrightly that they didn't treat her well, they didn't do this to her, she never felt safe and looked after. She has said all these horrible things about the royal family, even when she knows that the royal family was very warm and welcoming to her. But she decides to go against all of that and paints a different picture of the royal family. The king himself, this is the heir to the throne, then offered to walk her down the aisle where nobody was there to do that. And she went ahead and did all of that to the king's mother, to the royal family. That was so disrespectful of her.
Mm,
And
mm.
this was what finished everything between the royal family and her. And this is why they will not get those invitations to Balmoral, to Easter. I mean, we keep talking about these things. Okay, it's Christmas and Harry hasn't come back. Meghan haven't come back to spend time with. But the reality is, they can never be let back anywhere near
No,
to
no.
these conversations because of the risk those two pose. Okay.
Well, I think I think that the king will make some provision, and what that looks like, I don't know, in terms of his son in the event of his death.
Mm,
And he won't want to see him out in the cold forever. He won't
mm,
want to. He's a father, and
mm,
I think but and I believe that will all be part of the succession planning. They will
mm,
be looking at what are we going to do about this problem with Harry. They have
mm.
to, because they can't leave things the way they stand, because the children, the Harkle children, are in the line of
In line of
succession.
succession, yes. So
So
somewhere,
I do,
somehow,
yeah, I do
they
believe
will
there'll be
have.
some kind of accommodation of Harry, but it will never satisfy him. It won't.
Mm,
It won't.
mm,
Because the
mm,
royal family, the line of succession is everything.
mm,
That's it. That's it. And they protect that. They protect, even though it doesn't look like it, I believe there are behind the scenes in the succession planning, there are things being done in order to make sure that nothing interferes with George and the Wales
mm,
heirs. Nothing will interfere
family.
with that.
Mm, mm. And this is where really Harry, Meghan should start
Yeah.
to think about their future. This is where they should start to show a bit of
Yes.
empathy, apologizing, be good, be nice, because they risk being, you know, being left out in more meaningful ways, when the
Mm,
king decides
mm.
it's my time to go. Um, and for Harry, of course, he wasn't going to be satisfied with anything. I think they thought they would make big money going out of the royal family and monetizing projects, because they knew being in the royal family and doing these projects wasn't going to be bringing in the money they wanted. So they decided to go out and monetize. So I think for me, it was their plan to try and find a way of going out there, monetize and earn money, because they are just that thirsty for money. And I mean, I looked at Prince Harry recently, as was it in New York the other day, and the level of security he had, sniffer dogs and tanks and these snipers. And I said, God, you don't need all of this. You really don't. And then you wonder why the 4 millions is missing from Actual Foundation accounts. You you wonder where, because it is them wanting to be seen as big. You don't need all of that. Okay. And so this was the problem I think they had, even being in the royal family, because they thought, oh, so we also need to have our own security. We need to have our big, you know, planes, private jets moving us around, where those things were not available to them in the royal family because of where they sat in that line of what? Succession. you know?
Do
So
you think he really believes he needs that? Do you? What are your thoughts about his real belief about that? Is this all staged, or do you think he really does believe he needs all that security?
it is, I think it's again coming back to this narrative of, oh, we don't want, you know, our life to end up like my mom did and all of that.
Okay.
And so, but this is going on in their heads. This is them. They are the perfect. I think these two somehow are made for each other, because these
That's
two,
not a compliment by any means.
no, no, no.
Oh, that's golden, that one.
Okay. But there isn't anybody. People don't have that time to say, let's go and do Harry. Why would they even look at hurting him? I mean, people are minding their business. The royal family here is getting on with its work. They don't even have that time to start hunting these two people down, you know. But also
It's
for
not like they're
mm,
Putin traveling backwards and forwards, or Zelensky, or the leader of Iran or Israel. It's not like it's one of those. You would think they would have. That's the kind of level of security that was. It was that kind of high level of security that he had in
security.
New York.
Yeah, yeah.
It was the kind that would be afforded to those kind of leaders, and they're all in war zones.
It's themselves wanting to be seen as the most important people on the
Mm,
planet.
mm.
So they decide they get this 1 million mansion, a huge house with how many bedrooms? 25, 30 bedrooms. They don't need all of that. because it brings me back to how they complained when they were living in Frogmore Cottage, and they showed this cottage on Netflix. This is, look at the house we were staying in, look at the garden, very small, and all of that. We could hardly do anything here. But these are the cottages William and Catherine are staying in. They're the same cottages.
I know, I know. The
Okay,
Queen apparently visited them. I think she might have
exactly.
been pregnant, and
Mm.
they had a fan running, and it was really hot,
Yeah.
and there was a fan running, and the Queen was really quite shocked, and I
Yeah.
think she changed things as a result.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
they didn't
Polly
complain.
says it. Yeah, absolutely. So it is those. They are that sort of. They're.
16
Yeah,
bathrooms.
yeah. They don't need all over that. So it really shows who they are. So if somebody wants such a big house, then it does not surprise us when they want to walk in the city and they want 20 sniffer dogs. They want these sniper men standing there. They want these vehicles parading around, and they are literally walking like they are the Pope or whatever. You know, they don't need all of that. So this is their own imagination going on here, wanting to be
Yeah,
seen as the most important. And this is becoming problematic for them, because then
yeah,
it is
yeah.
costing them a lot of money, which money is not coming as they want. Okay. The donors are very skeptic joining into their campaigns because they are very worried where their money is going to be ending up. Because I was looking at Archwell Foundation tax returns. I don't know if you saw those online
I
recently.
did, yeah. I didn't examine them, but
Mm.
I'm well aware. I mean, they've made some excuse it's going to be rolled over into the next the next
Financial year.
accounts.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it is no making excuse, because they are
No.
supposed to be in this year's accounts. So to me, I think they're buying time to see how they can show that this money went here, went there. So they were caught off guard. That's how I'm looking
Okay.
at it. But I think this money probably went into funding those very expensive ventures, and the travels. I mean, do you know how much it costs Prince Harry to stay in New York for the 1 week with that
Do you
level of
have a
security?
do you know? Do you have a figure?
I don't
No.
know, but it should be much,
It'd be millions. It'd be
given
in
the
the
security
millions.
we see. Absolutely, given the
Yeah.
security, the level of security we see working with him and all of that. So
Well, the street was
surely,
closed down.
yeah,
The
yeah,
street was closed down,
yeah,
literally, and had
exactly,
sniffer dogs coming up and down, as you rightly
everywhere. Yeah,
said. Yeah, like that costs money. You can't
it
just
costs a lot of money.
shut down a
In
street
New
in New
York,
York.
financial center, exactly. But the other day, we saw William and Catherine walking on the streets of London like they were going in the market to buy oranges. Okay, very free, nothing. People are just near taking photos, pictures, people nearly shaking hands, and they're walking freely.
Mm,
Okay,
mm.
but you can't see this with Harry, Meghan, because they think they are very important people. Meghan Markle attending this tennis game in Wimbledon a few years back and deciding to shut down 6 rows, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, that side and this side, because she wanted to stay by herself. Nobody else close to her because security. So the sort of
Oh,
this is the sort of
whenever I see those photos, I just can't believe she thought
yeah?
that was okay. I can't believe she did it.
Right. Anyway, should we wrap
But
this up?
well, before we do, let's talk about the court case because the judge said recently, we'll finish on this because it's tying in with what you're talking about. He showed some frustration and he's running the risk of becoming a vexatious litigant over these security things, these security
Mm,
cases.
mm.
What are your thoughts around that?
That court case, Harry's
Yeah.
never gonna win that battle for police
No.
security. No, the judge is still insisting security is only available to serving royals and
Okay.
people who are doing government work. Okay, we are
Mm,
not
mm.
going to have somebody come from wherever they are coming because they think they can afford to hire police security and expect it to be available for them whenever they want
mm,
it.
mm, mm,
Okay. So the judge said, they had actually thrown this case out, and but I
mm,
think
mm,
somehow the Harris side presented an appeal, and I think they will be listening to them. But I don't think this is gonna change. It won't, and this is something that is also being debated upon in the Houses of Parliament here,
okay, yeah,
with parliamentarians believing that police security is is public funded,
mm,
so we are not gonna allow people's money go to facilitating somebody who doesn't do any work for the royal
mm,
family. And at
mm,
some times when he's even here in the country, he's only here for his own personal businesses.
mm,
Some of
mm,
these court cases he has been attending, he even needed not to be there. These are things that he could have appeared via video link. He doesn't need to
mm,
be here.
mm,
So it is him just wanting to stay in the headlines, carry on with this morning culture. They've taken this away from me because they thought that was the narrative that was going to be driving their campaigns forward. But he turned 40 the other day. Whether he's going to start reflecting upon this sort of way of leading activities,
mm,
we are
mm,
going to look out and see. He could turn up and drop these cases because they're also costing him a lot of money. They are costing him a lot of money because he's using top, top lawyers to come and fight for him for these cases. And if he's losing in the way he is, I don't think he's going to be pursuing these cases in the long term. He
mm.
won't. But we are still following up on that
Yeah,
story, Catherine.
yeah, yeah. I was just found it, but he won't be listening to what the judge says, and his his barristers, that what are they going to do? They're just going to keep taking him to the bank,
Yeah.
just really
Yeah, yeah.
paycheck.
Yeah. So briefly, King Charles has apparently, paused
Yeah.
his cancer treatment for 11 days to travel to Australia,
Yeah.
and so that's showing great resilience for the king there, isn't it?
Well,
And
he's actually from door to door because I posted a short about it this morning, and I just read something from the Daily Mail, but it showed I believe it shows a huge resilience on his part, and it's the first visit to a realm since his coronation. So
mm,
it's been very busy for him.
mm, mm,
We do out in the Commonwealth, and your friends in New Zealand will be very disappointed that he's not going to New Zealand. That's why the New Zealand girls gave him that big hug at Buckingham Palace. He
mm,
apologised he couldn't make it.
mm,
But then he's going to go on to Choggum straight after. And it's a packed trip. I was looking at it in detail this morning. It's huge. They'll have some rest times, but as is usual for a head of state, his doctor will travel with him. So
mm.
should there be any need, if should any health
Concerns
episodes,
come
yeah,
up. Mm,
arise,
mm,
he will have medical attention on hand. But yeah, the 18th, and the Royal Rota are all excited about it. Arthur Edwards will be here.
mm,
I really love that guy. I remember the first time I heard him, he was crying because he was
mm,
talking about he just felt like we'd lost Harry. He said, I just
mm,
feel like he's lost. And it was a couple of years ago. And I thought, look at this guy, crying over one of the royals. But it wasn't about that he left, it was about the total upheaval in his personality that he
mm,
observed. So it'll
mm,
be a good trip, and I'm looking forward to it actually. I'm going to try and get to a couple of events here in Sydney. And
mm,
as someone said, elbow my way in and see if I can get
And
some
get some
photos.
photos, yes.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
yeah,
I'm
that,
looking
and
forward to it.
please do. And your channel, of course, has now taken off. It's taken off. I can see if it's boarding a
I
flight,
know.
people are
Oh,
already lining up, ready to board. Okay, your flight. So it's take. So
so
please
cute.
try and get
Yeah,
some videos. Ask
I will.
people in the area,
Yeah,
how are you feeling
yeah,
about the king and queen being here? Are you
yeah.
excited? Yeah.
Look, I'm
And
planning on that, and there's actually I'm going to do a few historical quick takes in and it was to commemorate the Queen's coronation. There's a gallery in Wollongong, the regional gallery, and the floor plan of that
mm,
gallery mirrors the Queen's crown from
mm,
the coronation. So there's, if someone had to concede with me the other day, as a friend in Romania, and I know he's not a big royalist, but he did concede, that the royal DNA runs really deep in the Australian psyche. It really
mm,
does. They come
mm,
out, and it's a bit flat, I
mm,
just, that bothers me a little bit, but it'll change once they arrive. It's just the
mm.
way Australians are.
Mm, mm.
Yeah.
It will pick up. It will
Yeah,
pick up.
yeah,
And I know people, of course, these are not great economic times. People are
yes.
still having their own financial issues they are sorting out. So
Mm,
sometimes the the financial economic times people are going through take a toll, and some of these
mm.
events even if people would have loved to become excited, but when they have these issues going on, it's very
That's
easy to
right.
keep the morale down. But
Yeah,
this is going to be a big moment for the king, for
I believe
Australia
you're
as
right.
well. Mm,
Yeah, I actually believe that.
mm,
Um, I believe it's a big moment for his reign,
mm,
but I
mm,
believe it's also a big moment for him as
mm,
a sufferer of cancer. I
of
think it
cancer.
for him. I think he's really set his mind on this. That's my
Mm,
feeling, and so
mm.
it'll be interesting to see how he goes. I think he'll shine.
He will, he will.
Mm,
I'm not even worried at all. And
mm.
here in the UK, of course, we're going to be reporting. The king is in Australia. How nice it
I
will
know.
be to hear from you on the ground there. Because
It
all the
will.
time you're checking in on us. How are things going? So I'm running around at Buckingham Palace and here, this
I
is how things
know.
are going. So it's your
I
turn
love your
now.
walk and talks.
Yeah.
I do. I love them. Yeah.
Do you know what I do sometimes? I leave home here the night before and I go with my tent and sleep on the
Wow.
streets.
What?
Okay. Because you have to get the right spots to do that. Now, I know I'm an ex serviceman. I've served before. I've got my ID cards. I'm a veteran. I go in everywhere that I want. But on occasions like that, of course, where so many of us, so you cannot be guaranteed a good spot at this event. We have to try our very best to get there before everybody does. So sometimes I've got to spend sleepless nights there on the streets with my little poncho
Oh,
and it's raining. And
oh,
most
you're
of the
dedicated.
time, exactly,
Mm.
most of the time, rain has been involved in these events. So I'm drenching next day, but I'm there with my camera. Francis Page Media, Royal News Updates.
I love
But
it.
it's all for the passion for these royals and wanting to keep our people, communities
Mm.
out there on board.
No, I love it.
Okay,
I really
so
love your enthusiasm. I remember I thought it was very cute because you sounded like a real fangirl. At the tripping of the last tripping of the colour when Catherine and William went past in the coach, and
yes.
you're yelling out, Catherine, Catherine. I, I thought, oh, look at you.
Yeah, yeah.
I was really touched by that. I thought your enthusiasm was
Oh.
infectious.
Yeah, I can't be any more grateful than I am
Mm,
for what these royals and the royal family did for me and my family, giving me that
mm,
chance to
mm,
serve there, stand on the be on the courtyard of the most magnificent building in the world, Buckingham Palace, with my
Mm.
background. And I just can't be any more grateful than I am. And that's why this pains me a lot to see Meghan Markle getting these opportunities and she isn't grateful at all for for that,
Yes. Yeah.
you know
I
but
agree.
anyway.
Gratitude is a
Gratitude,
gift. Yeah, it's a
yeah.
gift we give back to the
Yeah.
universe. No, you're
But
wonderful, Francis. Are you going to put the handle for your New Zealand friends in the chat?
okay, yes, I
Yes,
will put it.
please.
Is
And
I
we'll all
will put
follow
it
them.
up, yeah, and we will follow them because they are lovely. They are behind us all the
I
time,
love the way you
and
talk.
you will
Lovely.
start to see them come through. Thank you so much for our subscribers, our friends. You've
Yeah.
gone beyond being subscribers to being part of this family. Without you, we wouldn't be anywhere. Sitting through this live stream with us and sharing
Yeah.
these thoughts is amazing. Stedman, TC,
Oh,
yeah,
TC, thank
Paul,
you.
thank you,
Stedman, yeah,
Sam,
she's always
yeah.
commenting.
Oh, she
She's very
is.
funny.
And
Yeah.
thank you for my coffees recently, Stedman. I saw them. Thank you. Really, really
Francis giggle.
grateful.
Yeah, I love when
Yeah.
you giggle.
Paul, Chantel. Okay. Kathy,
Yeah.
we are so, so grateful. Lily Page, we wouldn't be anywhere near to where we are without your
Yeah.
full support. Okay. And Catherine, again, congratulations. We want to see your channel
Oh,
go the
yes. Cheers.
distance.
Thank you very much,
Yes.
gang.
Yeah.
Thank you, Francis.
Yes. And we'll be doing this again probably about
Yeah.
Friday. We had issues
Yes.
with signal recently.
Oh, it's all
Apologies.
good. Yeah, we work
Mm,
with you. We work with
mm,
you.
mm.
Mm,
All right.
yeah.
So,
See you.
Catherine, would you like
Bye
to
bye,
say bye
sweetie
bye to our
darling.
friends and your lights?
Mm.
Catherine, before you go, those lights of yours in the background are a source of inspiration to us here, looking at them. And I'm sure our fans and
I
friends
love
here will agree.
lights.
They are
Yeah.
beautiful. Your place looks
Thank
so
you.
beautiful. Thank you for
It's
inspiring
my
us always.
bedroom, but it's a
Yeah.
big room. And the connection is best here. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank
Bye,
you.
sweetie darling.
Bye bye, everybody. See
Bye,
you again so
everyone.
soon. Bye
Thanks,
bye.
Aspie. See you, Stedman.
See you soon. Yes.